The VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 709, recorded on January 10th, 2024.
Welcome to the 709th edition of the TD Gaming Podcast and 542nd episode of Video Game Roundtable. I am TJ Denzer.
I am Scott Dirk.
And I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
We're going to talk about what we've been playing. Very simple, City Skylines 2. So, I'm still on that. And it's funny, I keep on restarting because I keep on figuring out better ways to have a city. So it's like I keep on going over and over and over again. This time I just make sure that I have the largest roads first, so that I can build these gigantic avenues that go straight down the middle of the city.
Yeah, I feel like that's like kind of the fun part of cities is that you kind of stumble through the first city, and then you make a reasonable second one, and then by the time you know everything you're doing, you kind of make your dream.
The only thing I would like to do is be able to auto-upgrade streets, because as it is, you have to knock down streets, which means you have to knock down houses along the way and whatever you built. It's like, I'd like it if you could just auto-upgrade them, without having to delete anything.
Do you have like a disasters mode where you can summon disasters on a city?
Well, you can't summon disasters, but they'll happen. I've seen hailstorms and fires and tornadoes. But, it's usually my city is so small that it's like way outside. It's like, there's a tornado. Oh, yeah, it's all the way on the other side of the map. It's not even going to come close to my city, so I'm not that worried.
That's fun, though. You should post some screenshots sometime. I want to see what you're making.
Okay. Actually, I should really just not screenshots, but video capture. Yeah, this time I've decided to have a huge main street down the middle. And now, instead of having everything segregated, I have like this section over here green, this section over here blue, this section over here yellow, this section over here blue, this section over here green, that sort of thing. I also discovered that you won't get offices until you build a college, and then you'll have software stores popping up all over the place. So yeah, you need higher education to get the offices. Also, you really should start building industry around your town. Like, the second you're able to build a gigantic chicken farm. Actually, it's not chicken, it's livestock, because I built a big one and wait, those aren't chickens, those are cows. What are the cows doing there? Those aren't chickens. When you do
gotten that far. Or sorry, go ahead.
No. When you start building industries, you'll notice that your yellows will start getting demand again because you built these industries like rocks or crops or livestock, and yellow buildings will pop up because they need to process them. So the demand for yellow will increase when you start building these farm industries.
That makes sense. That's smart. I like that.
But like I said, in order to get office buildings, which are the purple, you need college. By the way, when I build the elementary school and high school, I usually build all the attachments that go with it, like the children's playground and the library and the sports field all together. The sports field takes a lot of room, so you have to make sure you have a big room for it. I actually had one game in which now in these games, I actually go to a tiny town before anybody's moved into it. And the thing is that sometimes once I was able to get the incinerator before I got the graveyard. So you don't need a graveyard, you just have the incinerator, just toss them in. Saves a lot of space in town because the church and the graveyard take up a lot of space. Especially if you want to build a church and a monument near it. So how deep have you gotten into City Skylines, TJ?
I haven't gotten that far. I've been playing a lot of other things.
Okay.
Mostly for Game of the Year, mostly for work, and
Game of the Year is easy. It's Hi-Fi Rush. All right.
I went back to Alan Wake 2 this week.
Oh, okay.
And I have not gotten all the way through the end of the game, and I need to do the new game. So there's a different ending in New Game Plus because there's extra pages in New Game Plus, and if you get them, there's a different ending.
Ah.
So I'm trying to work my way towards that.
That's interesting. Western games are doing that now.
At least Alan Wake did, or Alan Wake 2 does, because that was like a specific thing that they added a little bit afterwards in a free update. And I like that they did it for free. They could have made that DLC, but they didn't.
Okay. Well, there's more Alan Wake news we're going to talk about in a few seconds, but, you know.
And I've been playing Trials to Reverie. I don't know if I mentioned that previous episode.
You mentioned it last week, yeah.
Okay. Well, I've gotten farther into it, and I've gotten to the Reverie corridor. So it does play a little bit like Trials of the Third, but it's different. You know, it's a different situation, and different mechanics are happening in the game. They have this nice, like, united front attack that you could do when you have more than 5 characters, and you have an assault gauge that you fill up, and then you use that to do an all-out attack with, like, 5 or more people that you have in your party, and then your support. And you're using 2 master quartz for your orbments, and there's a whole bunch of mini games in the corridor, and there's these daydream stuff that you can do, which does remind me of of the doors in Sky Third, where you would open it and you would see some story, and there would be some sort of fight in there, and then you get to the conclusion and you get your reward, and it's really good. You get all these little orbs to unlock different abilities, to expand your brave points, to expand your party. So it's really interesting.
You haven't talked about in a while is Minecraft.
That's true. I think I joined a server for a Sea of Stars fan server, and we started building some stuff from both the Messenger and Sea of Stars, and I started building the Bamboo Creek Forest, and I think somebody else built the Sea of Stars space thing around the end portal, which is really cool looking.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Because the reason why I mentioned it is that Minecraft Legends is not going to have any new updates anymore. They're just going to stop with the last one, and that'll be it. But on the good news is that they're not going to take the servers off. They're going to leave it on there. They're just not going to have any more new content.
Oh, that's something at least. I know, because they shut down Minecraft Earth kind of abruptly. But at least
well, this isn't the same thing. Minecraft Legends is going to be a live service game, but they're going to leave these servers on. They're not going to. It's not
right,
because there's another news item. I think TJ wrote about it. Is that Platinum Games is ending one of its mobile games, and it's sort of like, yeah, guess what? February, that's it. You can't play it anymore. Bye. And it's not like it even has that much of an online content. You wrote about this, right, TJ?
The Platinum Games thing?
Yeah.
I need to see. Wait, which one is it?
Oh, hold on. Platinum Games. By the way, I did not know Hideo Kamiya left Platinum Games. Yeah, the game that's closing is World of Demons. It's an Apple Arcade exclusive. And it's shutting down on February 1st.
Okay, yeah. I don't know a lot about... I don't think I've written on Platinum's mobile titles too much.
But this is one of the games that people said was really, really good, mobile game or not. And the fact is that February 1st, you can't even download it on January 18th. And then on February 1st, it'll just become completely unplayable, even if you downloaded the game already. And it doesn't really have that much online elements. It's just, okay, that's it. You enjoyed this game. Bye.
I sometimes wonder how lucrative Apple Arcade really is. Like... I don't know. It doesn't seem like it really doesn't seem like an Xbox Game Pass type deal where like
no, but
these people are being compensated well and the game is doing well because people can like who do you know anyone who actually is on Apple Arcade?
I know a few people actually, but the thing is that to me it's sort of like Humble Games. Humble Games has their own service. I don't know how many people are on that, but it's sort of like Apple really curates the games really well because a lot of the games that came out of Apple Arcade have become big hits, like Untitled Goose Game.
I didn't even realize that was an Apple Arcade.
That was an Apple Arcade game, yeah.
I know Oceanhorn was on Apple, game store. It used to be exclusive.
It was, yeah, a lot of these games were exclusive, and then Apple Game Store really wasn't doing well, so they started releasing it, so you had that sort of thing going on. I mean, Guilt was an exclusive of the Google Stadia, and it came on the console. It's an easy game, but it's still a very interesting game to play. But yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I guess I'm just kind of out of the loop on that then, because I haven't heard too much about Apple Arcade's success or failure. Just not much of anything outside of the occasional game coming to it.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of odd, isn't it? It's just it just keeps going along, and I guess it's doing well.
It's not doing well. It's just.
I mean, it's not shut down.
Yeah, well, Apple has gobs of money. They don't.
Yeah, they do.
It's like Epic. The Epic Game Store isn't doing that well, and if it wasn't for Fortnite, it would have shut down a long time ago. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to Fortnite, because when Fortnite goes, then Epic is just going to collapse like a house of cards. I mean, Valve hasn't made any Half-Life games of note in a very long while, Half-Life Alyx notwithstanding, And that was their big game, their big tentpole game. So
Well, that and Portal.
No, that was part of the Orange Box. It wasn't really a tentpole game for Valve. But the thing is that if Fortnite goes away, does Epic have anything? Is their store strong enough to survive without Fortnite? And I think the answer is no.
Do you think people will eventually get tired of Fortnite? Because it doesn't seem like it.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I will say this. There's a lot of kids who are, 10, 12, 13-year-olds who are growing up with it, who are now, in their college age, and they're still going with it. Epic has been trying to turn it into a sort of a metaverse type of thing, like having live concerts and that sort of stuff. And I don't think it's working that well, but we'll see. Like I said, Fortnite is one huge hat to try and hang an entire business over.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, at least they're making enough deals that you can get the free games that are coming out. I think it's Guardians of the Galaxy is their current free game. Also, I get a lot of games through Epic because I'm a media member, so I'm happy about that. So, but yeah, it's sad. It's getting really, really upsetting. That you can have a game, you can enjoy it, and then boom, it's gone. And oh, by the way, you can never play it again. Meanwhile, if I have the gold card of Zelda, it's not like Nintendo says you can't do it. You have to buy it. No, I have a cart, and I have an NES, and I have a working battery. So tough luck. I still can play it the way I want to. That's from 1985, which is 38 years ago. So
yeah.
Anyways, moving on to quick news. Alan Wake is coming to Dead by Daylight later this month, and he's going to have 3 powers. There's no associated enemy. He's just going to be a new hero.
Yeah, sometimes they do that. They did that with who was it? Chucky. Chucky came to the game without anyone on the survivor side.
Okay, well this is a survive without anybody on the villain side.
I would like to see what his abilities are.
He has a light ability, in which he can light up all of the engines and the things for people to see. He can stun people, if I remember correctly, and he has a third power. Oh, there's also a new power called Power Off, in which you can make the game harder by making all of the items invisible.
Oh no, that sounds intense and difficult.
Yeah. Well, that it's just it's a mod. It's a mutant mod. But he has light powers basically.
Oh, that makes sense. And that's a shame if true, because the flashlight is easily the worst item in that whole game.
But he makes it powerful. He has some powerful effects. Like I said, he can light up all of the. He can give everything that's useful to the survivors as an outline.
Yeah, that one sounds useful, but like whatever you're having to do with the flashlight is very hard to do. Like it's just not. For one, you have to like hit the killer directly in the face with it, and it's just a pain in the ass to get that perfect hit on them to actually stun them. but maybe I haven't seen his perks. I don't know exactly what they do, but maybe he has something that like makes it easier to stun with. If that's the case, maybe it makes it a little bit more viable. But by itself, the flashlight is trash.
I think in his hand it has a little bit more power. So. Moving on, Tetris Prodigy triggers a true kill screen in a record-setting run. Willis Gibson, a.k.a. Blue Scooty, made history in December 2023 by becoming the first player to record a kill screen run on Tetris. They actually were able to have an AI do it, but this is the first human player to do it. And it's not like Pac-Man in which you get to level 256 and the game breaks. No, you actually have to do some special things, because I believe at some point there are invisible Tetronimos, and you have to do certain things to time it just right to give it a kill screen.
The game runs until about, I think it's like he did it at like around level 150 something, which for the longest time everybody thought the game was basically finished at 19 because that's when it goes its fastest.
I can't even get past level 15 in that game.
Yeah, and so they started developing new like hand techniques that made it easier to like rotate the Tetrominos and make sure that you didn't die immediately. And so people started pushing the limit on the game. And the kill screen that Blue Scooty triggered, you have to get up into the level 150 threshold or somewhere around there, and then you have to trigger a single line clear in the middle of the board, which then causes the game's like memory to like the numbers of the game like conflict themselves and breaks it.
Yeah, like I said, it's not like getting to the level 256 of Pac-Man. You know, it's something you have to time.
And this was theorized, like you said.
AI can do it. An AI did it.
The AI has never done it on the original version of the game. It was found that the AI that did it on a slightly altered version. So no human has ever done this, and it's never been recorded like being done. This is the equivalent of like, this game is like 40 years old, and this 13-year-old kid,
19, he was
just 19. Like opened up the Holy Grail. It's crazy. Like the level of skill that he has to get that far.
Here's the thing. I can see someone, I can see myself maybe beating Donkey Kong or Pac-Man, I can't see myself ever beating Tetris.
Yes, because you're talking about playing up to level 19 where it goes the fastest, and then to get to level 150, you have to play perfectly for like 40 minutes straight.
Jesus Christ.
And it's so hard. Like even playing at the speed of 19 is just insane by itself. But then to have the gumption like you said, there are boards. The Tetrominos change color as you achieve levels, and there are some levels late in the game where the Tetrominos are almost pitch black with just like a blue tint, or they're like opaque and transparent, and it makes it very hard to see what you're doing. It's insane. Like, it is insane what this dude did. And I wonder if somebody will ever be able to. There will probably be somebody that matches that, but like he has the achievement of like being the first to ever do it, and that is awesome.
There is one game I was really, really, really good at. It's called Droplets, and you can't find it anywhere. And it reminds me of the thing, of digital destruction. I cannot, for some reason, it's not allowed. It's delisted, and you can't ever find it again. And Droplets was hella fun.
Yeah, like props to anyone that can ever match that. But this kid's made history. He has the achievement. And,
at least being the first. I mean, you'll always be the first. You can't, no one. You can never. Someone may break your record, but no one will ever prevent you from being first because you're first.
Yeah, like at this point, the best somebody else could do is maybe find the kill screen on an earlier level than what he did, but I really, really doubt that happens anytime soon.
Neil Armstrong is the first to put his foot on the moon. No one will ever be able to take that away, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
so It's a wild story. Like 40-year-old game and people are still figuring out new things in it.
People are still figuring out new things for speedruns on Super Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Like discovering new ways to, jump in a special way that you bounce through an object, that sort of thing. I mean,
That goes to show why these games need to be preserved and saved, so that way people can keep playing them 40 years later.
Not every game can be Super Mario Brothers. I mean, there's droplets, and I'll never be able to play that. And I want to, because it is hella fun. It's Pipe Dreams, except done really, really, really well.
Scott's right, though. Games preservation sucks right now, and more companies, I think, need to step up.
Is that number again? 79% of all games that have ever been released are no longer available.
Yeah, which I would imagine that Steam shovelware and Wii shovelware.
Yeah, that's just like, but it's not going to save it. I mean, here, Rugu on Steam is imperfect, because Rugu on the Xbox Live Arcade was perfect, but Rugu on Steam isn't very good because it doesn't really map to your controller very well. There's something wrong with it. And then you have something like Prince of Persia 2008, the one that was cel shaded. Mm-hmm. You can't get the expansion on the Steam version. It's only on the Xbox 360 version that you can get the expansion, which actually is a different cliffhanger, because spoiler for a game that's going to be 20 years old soon. At the end, when the heroine sacrifices her life to give all of her light seeds to the trees, and she dies, and the hero, the prince, decides he's going to cut down the trees, get the light things back, and put it back in her and resurrect her, freeing the evil god, Ahriman. And as he walks off, she says, "Why?" And in the main game, that's it. In the expansion, he explains his logic about why he did that, which is fine. Actually, I also like the ending if you don't have the expansion. It's like it's just the one thing he could not do. But he explains it, but the thing is that even after he explains it, she absolutely hates him and leaves him alone to his possible death. And I love that Prince of Persia game, and we're never going to have a sequel. Ever. But the digital destruction is you don't have that ending DLC. You can't get it on Steam. You can only get it on the Xbox version, and guess what? You can't get it on the Xbox version either. It's not backwards compatible. It was such a good thing when Red Dead Redemption became backwards compatible, and Rockstar was shocked that people were buying it. It's like, wait a minute, this is an old game, and people are spending this much money just to play an old game? Gee, backwards compatibility is popular. Who would have thunk?
I mean, there's always someone new who hasn't played it. It just seems really short-sighted, these companies that don't think future people are going to want to play these games. And
by the way, remasters aren't going to always help. I mean, there's a KOTOR remaster coming up, but it's whatever. Who cares? I'd rather someone fix KOTOR 2 instead. Anyways, we're going to move on to game news. Scott, you can take the first item.
Okay, Bethesda will finally show off Indiana Jones gameplay at the Developer Direct Showcase. This is from PC Gamer. 3 years after it was first revealed, the Indiana Jones game in development at Machine Games is finally ready for the spotlight. Microsoft announced today that the upcoming game will take center stage at the next Developer Direct Showcase, set to take place on January 18th. Despite all the time that's passed since Indiana Jones game was announced, we still don't really know anything about it, including where or even when it will be set.
It would be hysterical if it was set after the last movie and Indy is 80 years old.
I get the joke, but I don't think it's going to be that.
No, but it would be hilarious.
They might do something where they span, and they show him as a young kid, and as an adult, and maybe an old man, and they have like some sort of generational story or something like that.
Here's the thing, though. They're not going to have Harrison Ford. Well, they never did have Harrison Ford's voice, because if you watch the new movie, even when he was de-aged, his voice was still 80 years old. He had an 80-year-old voice coming out of a 40-year-old man.
They didn't have him voice the fate of Atlantis. I remember that.
No,
I think
they didn't. They never had him. They never had him voice Indiana Jones. Ever.
Yeah, so I don't think that's an issue, or at least I mean I hope people are.
AJ Locascio did the voice of Marty McFly in Back to the Future, in the Telltale Back to the Future. He was excellent. He was very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the final episode, they had Michael J. Fox voice his grandfather, and you could tell, Michael J. Fox could not have voiced Marty McFly in this game.
No,
could not have.
So let's see.
Did Christopher Lloyd voice Doc? It sounded...
Yes, he did. He did.
Okay.
So going back to the story, the Developer Direct Showcase looks set to change all that. Microsoft said the presentation will include details on the setting and story, how fans will actually play as Indy, and this is the big one, the first ever gameplay trailer. The indie game, the indie game is the headliner, if only because it's game we've known the least about for the longest time. Oh, there's Dragon's Quest 12, but we'll stay focused. But it's not coming to.
That's not going to be a Bethesda game.
I know, but still.
It's not going to be at Microsoft's. If it's going to be at Microsoft's Direct, that would be news. It's like Microsoft is debuting Dragon Quest 12.
Anyways. But it's not coming to the show alone. And I like this. Obsidian will present the first deep dive into Avowed, the first-person RPG set in Pillars of Eternity world. The Oxide Games will reveal gameplay, key features, and future plans for Civilization meets Crusader Kings historical grand strategy game, Ara, the History Untold. Ninja Theory will also reveal more about the process of developing Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, including a look at the ambition and meticulous care involved in creating Senua's journey of survival.
See, that's new to me because I thought Ara History Untold would be like Civilization meets Total War, but Civilization meets Crusader Kings?
That sounds really interesting, actually. I think I would like more... because that was something I liked about Old World, where you were creating your leader's story. In Civilization, your leader's just kind of there.
They're immortal.
Yeah, they're immortal for 6,000 years. And so it would be nice to have this kind of epic saga, where you have a story and a family tree and a history to your Civ and its leader, not just have this one leader for all time.
I know that TJ sunk a lot of time into Crusader Kings.
Yeah, so that sounds interesting. But getting back to Indiana Jones, though, I am really looking forward to this because I want to see what kind of game it is they're making. I do suspect it'll be along the lines of the Uncharted gameplay style where you're it's third person and you're jumping and parkouring and you have story and you have some fights. But
imagine if they shock everyone and it's a traditional adventure game like Fate of Atlantis.
Yeah, I would love it if it was Fate of Atlantis, because Fate of Atlantis to me has been the best Indiana Jones game so far. I mean, they have not topped it, and that's kind of sad because they've had a lot of attempts. With the Emperor's Tomb, and there was a couple other Indiana Jones games that just really went bad. So there's a lot of expectation for this, so we want it to be a good, fun game, and I'm sure they're going to go for the cinematic, Uncharted kind of style. So that's what I'm expecting, anyways.
And the thing I heard about Avowed is that it's not going to be like Elder Scrolls. It's going to be a more compact game, which is good. I mean, not everything has to be sprawling like a million miles wide.
I think it'll make for a tighter story.
I think it's going to be sort of like a fantasy version of the Outer Worlds, at least in terms of structure.
Yeah.
I have not finished Pillars of Eternity. You played both games, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I enjoyed both of them, and I thought Pillars 2 improved everything on the first game. I mean, that they had these sea shanties when you were out in the ocean, and I guess they hired this sea shanty group, and they made some really beautiful songs that you can listen to while you're out sailing and looking for treasure or pirates or whatever.
They did that for not this team, but that you had the same thing in Assassin's Creed 4, in which you could have, and also they do it in Sea of Thieves as well. You have say different
really
shanties
nice
and yeah.
And it's a really nice touch, and I enjoyed both games, like I said. And I'm hoping that Josh Sawyer gets his budget to do a Pillars 3, and it's still isometric and turn-based.
Hey, you know what? With the success of Baldur's Gate 3, you can bet your friggin' bottom dollar that Microsoft is asking, hey, Josh, can you make an isometric RPG for us, too?
Yeah, sure, just give me the money.
Yeah. The other thing, there's other news that's revolving around this, and that is some of the games they say Microsoft will be releasing on Switch, and perhaps really here's the thing. When I played Hi-Fi Rush, I knew immediately this game's going to be on Switch someday. It's going to be on the Switch. I know it's going to be on the Switch someday. It's not bothering. It's like, yeah, this Hi-Fi Rush is the sort of game that lives on the Switch, you know. And Sea of Thieves, you know, going to Nintendo and PlayStation, yeah, that makes perfect sense because it's a live service game, you know? And then people found out, oh, by the way, the Elder Scrolls 6 Xbox console exclusive, sorry. And who didn't know that? It was never going to be on PlayStation. And oh, by the way, the game that's being made, what was the game that's a superhero game that's being made, that's a first-party game from Microsoft that people say, oh, it's going to be on PlayStation. What? Huh? No. Why would Microsoft do that? It would be like Sony putting Spider-Man on the Xbox. It's not going to happen. Just because you want it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
That's true.
I think that Scott's probably right actually, I don't know if Scott's right when it comes to the indie game because I've never seen machine games do. I feel like I'm gonna look like an idiot here if I don't know what Machine Games has done besides Wolfenstein.
I believe they did the last Gears of War game.
You think it might be a first-person shooter, or I don't know?
No, they've only done first-person games, so I'm not sure what to expect when it.
Oh no, they just did Quake and Wolfenstein, and that's it.
Yeah,
and they're working on Wolfenstein 3.
I mean, did some of these game devs surprise you, like the Sukuna Rice and Ruin of Sukuna? The game devs did some weird Yeti game. That was their first game, and then they did Sukuna, which is like worlds apart. You know, so it's just I don't know. So
I just realized, you know how pissed.
It's interesting to see devs move out of their comfort place.
Yeah.
And try new things. I'm just not sure what to expect because Wolfenstein and Quake are all I know of machine games.
Well, here's the thing. They did New Order and they did Old Blood, and you're doing an Indiana Jones game. I'm pretty sure it's going to involve Nazis.
Sure. They're really good at killing Nazis in their games.
And like I said, I don't think it's sunk into a lot of PlayStation owners that Wolfenstein 3 will not be on the PlayStation.
You know what I kind of hope they do? And this will be a long shot, but I kind of hope that they go the route of the Ghostbusters Spirit Unleashed games, where you don't play as Indy, you play as like a apprentice to Indy.
That could actually. Oh, could you imagine? Well, Mutt was killed in Vietnam, so it'd have to be before then.
Right, but I was just thinking to myself, you could have Harrison Ford be all old and tell you about his glory days, but also teach you the ways of the whip.
But then you'd have to get Harrison Ford to want to work on it, and I don't know if he wants to be anywhere near Indiana Jones anymore. Although they did get him to the fifth.
He likes Indiana Jones.
He loves Indiana Jones.
Okay, well here's the thing: you might have Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones narrating, just as a bookend.
Maybe so, because he actually enthusiastically came back for the Dial of Destiny.
Imagine if someone is a good Sean Connery impersonator and can play his father.
I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I don't expect. I don't know what I expect, but we'll see. We'll find out pretty soon, won't we?
Yeah, that's awesome. I am excited to watch it. I'm sure it'll be fun.
I'm still most excited for Our History Untold, though. Even after the Indiana Jones, I still want to see what that game is, because now like I said, I thought it was going to be Civilization meets Total War, but it's Civilization meets Crusader Kings. Now I really want to see what they have going on in that game.
Mm-hmm.
because it's a beautiful game too. TJ, would you? You don't play Civilization much, but would you play a Civilization meets Crusader Kings?
Yes, I would, because I feel like a Crusader Kings that was more like Civilization would be far easier to digest than Crusader Kings.
Oh yeah, that's the only problem with Crusader Kings is having to deal with militaries and all that stuff and mustering, and I just want to do stories, man. I don't want to have to deal with all that crap.
There is so much to like. There is so much to think about in Crusader Kings. I kind of have to mentally work myself up to sit down and play that game, because like I know I'm going to be onslaughted with a billion different things, and I need to figure out how to balance them all if I'm going to win.
Meanwhile, Civilization sort of pares things down. So, and about, I'm going to be interested in seeing what that looks like. I mean, it looks like, graphically, it looks like The Outer Worlds.
Yeah, trading laser beams for fireballs is all right by me. I'm ready to see what that game is like.
Apple Vision Pro available in the U.S. on February 2nd. This comes to us from Apple. Apple today announced Apple Vision Pro, which will be available Friday, February 2nd. Already, it's like leap year day, actually, now that I think about it. At all U.S. Apple Store locations, U.S. Apple Store online. Vision Pro is a revolutionary spatial computer that transforms how people work, collaborate, connect, relive memories, and enjoy entertainment. Vision Pro seamlessly blends digital content with the physical world and unlocks powerful spatial experiences in Vision OS, controlled by the most natural and intuitive inputs possible, a user's eyes, hands, and voice. An all-new App Store provides users with access to more than 1 million compatible apps across iOS and iPad OS, as well as new experiences that take advantage of the unique capabilities of Vision Pro. Pre-orders will begin on Friday, January 19th. There's a lot of stuff going on the 18th and 19th, isn't there? Apple Vision Pro is powered by Vision OS, as I said. Intuitive gestures allow users to interact with apps by simply looking at them, tapping their fingers to select, and flicking their wrist to scroll, or using a virtual keyboard or dictation to type. With Siri, users can quickly open or close apps and play Mirror More. Apple Vision Pro will be available starting at $3,500 US with 256 gigabytes of storage, and that's where basically everything falls apart. I don't need Google Glasses that cost $3,500. I just don't.
Yeah, $3,500. That is insane.
Especially for a first adopter. Especially if you're first being a first adopter. Because then you'll have to deal with all the bugs and the problems and all that stuff. And wait for the second edition, which will fix all the problems of the first edition.
And get this, 256 gigabytes, they're going to upcharge you to increase that storage. They're also going to upcharge you to if you need special lenses because you wear glasses, because you can't wear glasses.
They do have actually a $99 thing which deals with that. So, yeah.
Oh, $99? That's nice. On top of a $3,500 price tag.
And probably a $30 charge cable that breaks in a month.
So the $99 thing is interesting. From what I understand, it sort of is like glasses themselves, and you can adjust them. So it's sort of like wearing glasses without having to wear your glasses.
I just think this. I don't know who this thing is for, because they're
real Apple enthusiasts. That's for damn sure.
I'm sure they're out there.
There are so many options in VR and AR that do what this thing is doing, and probably better
and cheaper.
Here's the thing, though. One of the reasons why it's so expensive is that it's really thin, and it really looks like you're wearing old people shades. You know those shades that some old people have that just wrap around their head? They look like Geordie LaForge. It's that kind of thing that you place. So that's what I would like. Here's the thing. The MetaQuest 3 is lighter, and this is even lighter. But like I said, the MetaQuest 3, as expensive it is, it's not $3,500. And it does all the same. It does the VR AR, doesn't it? Because I understand when you're using the MetaQuest 3, you can actually see in color through it. If you want to be able to see, when you're not doing your, I don't know. I think I could wait for the Apple Vision Pro 10 when it's like $1,000 and.
Yeah. By that point, there will probably be other options that are more practical.
That's the other thing is that I don't have an iPhone because Samsung does it better with their Galaxy. It's going to be interesting because VR AR is something that is. I will say this: it doesn't look like you're going to get dizzy wearing these. So one plus I will say. It doesn't look like it's one of those things in which you have to take them off after an hour because your head is spinning.
$3,500 and they couldn't figure out how to put a battery in it, so you have to have it on a fucking charge cable. That's the part that confounds me.
Yeah, can you imagine? It would be nice if you were able to walk around with these shades on, but they're getting Google Glasses.
I suppose.
Here's the thing, though. Apple gets so much benefit of the doubt from their users. There's going to be people who really can't afford who will be buying it just because. Because it's Apple. And I think this thing is going to be sold out by 5:30 on Friday, January 19th. I don't even know how many they're releasing of this thing. It may be something, like there's only 20,000 of them, and they're going to go quickly. So they can say, hey, we sold out. That's how popular it is. We sold out. Yeah, you only had 20,000 though. It'll be interesting. It's incredibly cool, but not for $3,500.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to notice that this is U.S. only right now, so it's not like it's a hard launch. I'm pretty sure next year it's going to launch worldwide once they got the components cheaper.
I don't know. Apple seems to sell stuff at overpriced rates.
True, but $3,500 is still a big ask.
It's a huge ask, yes.
Like I said, it looks good because Apple knows one thing. They know design. And they know tech. The problem is, I want to see if they probably are going to be forced to use the USB-C because of Europe. Oh, no, wait, this is US only. So they can do their proprietary lightning shit with this thing, won't they?
Yeah, well, yeah, they can.
They're going to have so much proprietary shit because it's not being released in Europe. See, wait until worldwide when Europe gets involved and they're forced to use USB-C. Anyways, move on to the next item. Go ahead, TJ.
Palworld's Pokémon-with-guns adventure game enters early access next week from Eurogamer. Palworld, the open-world survival and crafting adventure from developer Pocket Pair that looks like a lot like Pokémon-with-guns, is launching into early access on Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, PC, and Game Pass next Friday, the 19th of January. Pocket Pair describes Palworld as a monster-catching survival and crafting game over on its Steam page, but notes it also features a variety of mechanics from other genres in order to provide a completely new experience for everyone. And while harmonious living alongside the pals that you catch, initially totaling over 100, is certainly possible, with the likes of idyllic farming, land and sea exploration, dungeon crawling, battling, building, and breeding all featured, it also looks to have a darker side too, and not just because of the guns. Players that choose to take on the game's ruthless poaching syndicate might, for example, find themselves traversing perilous climates where limited resources could mean that they're forced to eat their I'm sorry, what?
Yes, you have to eat your own Pokemon.
And just take that and eat their pals. Eat their pals.
Okay, let's stop calling them pals and start calling them Pokemon. You have to force to eat your Pokemon.
Through a mountain and suddenly decide, oh man, I'm starving. Pikachu isn't very around right now.
I didn't think they could make a game I would dislike more than hatred. That's impressive. That's wow. Good job.
Meanwhile, pals can be put to work making fire, generating electricity, or mining ore.
Yeah, you're making a slave of Pikachu there. Hey, Pikachu!
To a factory line where they could be made to automate different tasks until they drop dead.
What is this? Who put this?
The poaching. With players able to do crime, sneaking into wildlife sanctuaries. What the fuck?
Oh my god.
Yes, Mewtwo, we're stealing you, and then we're putting you in a factory.
To capture rare pals that can be sold for cash. All of this supports online co-op for up to 4 players and dedicated 32-player servers that will be also available at early access launch, with that number likely to grow as development progresses. Pocket Pair says it expects Palworld's early access to continue for at least a year, during which it'll introduce PvP, new pals, new areas, and dungeons to explore, plus new survival items and buildings. The initial early access version will include 70 buildings and 350 different item types. It's also considering incorporating entirely new game systems based on player feedback and ideas.
Oh my god, this is a horror. This is a horror game.
So
Palworld will be available on the Windows Store, Steam, and Xbox One, and Game Pass on the 19th of January.
So here's the thing.
Fuck.
Here's the thing. Have you actually seen the game in action?
I have. Like,
it is
as far as the trailers.
It is smoother than silk. Imagine if the Pokemon company actually put the effort into their Pokemon that these guys are putting into their monsters.
Oh, not like this, though. Not like
no,
this.
I mean, I'm talking about just animation and looks.
Oh my god.
It's like Ratchet and Clank level of like Pixar. I mean, imagine if the Game Freak and the Pokemon company actually gave a shit about the Pokemon game and was able to make Pokemons that look this smooth and this fluid and all that stuff.
Calling it. They're going to put weird sex in this game eventually.
Well, they have breeding.
Well, there you go.
Weird sex.
Okay. Hey, look. You remember the old Dragon Warriors game? It was not Dragon Warriors. It was Dragon something, in which basically what?
I was gonna say Dragon Slayer.
No. It was part of the Dragon. It's part of the Dragon Quest games, but it was a Dragon Quest monster breeding game. It was before Square Enix. It was by Enix.
Right. Okay.
And they did a lot of stuff with Pokemon that just evolved it. You could have two different Pokemon breed, and maybe they'll come up with a different Pokemon and all that stuff. That's what these guys are doing. They're just taking Pokemon and saying, look, you're freaking around a lot. We're going to do something new, because this is what a lot of kids who were 10 years old, 20 years ago, this is what they want to play. They want to play a more grounded Pokemon.
Where you can eat your Pokemon. Damn.
Hey, you know what? That's because you did not plan out well. It's like Tamagotchi. Hey, look, your Tamagotchi could die, right? So,
yeah.
So if you love your Pokemon or your pal, you better plan things out, or else you're gonna have to make pal burgers. Or send them to,
they're called pals too. Like, eat their pals. Like, I'm gonna say something. If you kill and eat your pal, that's not your pal. You're Jeffrey Dahmer.
Hey, look, send them to the factory generating electricity until they die. That's what I want to see to happen to Pikachu. I want him to be strapped in there and forced to power a city until he dies. And then they say, okay, bring in a new Pikachu.
I'm not even a Pokemon fan. I feel bad for them.
I don't feel bad for them. They deserve all this crap.
That's exactly what Darkseid does to Cyborg in Justice League Apocalypse War.
Yeah. By the way, did you know they're it's coming out, right?
If what you were doing is something that Darkseid from DC would do, you're a bad person.
But here's the thing: you have to make the choice. I mean, in Grand Theft Auto, you can try and be a good person, or you could be a monster. Okay, actually, that's Grand Theft Auto is about Red Dead Redemption. You can be on the side of angels, but you can also do the dark. Here's the thing: being good is meaningless if you're forced to be good. If you have 100 Pokemon that you treat well, and they all love you, and you never force them into indentured servitude, then hey, you feel much better because you could have done. And remember, in Pokemon, that's just glorified, cockfighting.
That's true.
It's putting two dogs and having them fight. It's a dog fight.
That's very true.
Except they quote unquote faint. They don't die. They don't. So, I mean, but like I said, the thing that I notice most is the graphics and the animation, which is really good. And it's going to make anybody who plays Pokemon these days kind of pissed, because imagine if Pokemon had this level of animation and graphic. And oh, by the way, the pals, I keep on thinking, wait, these are actual Pokemon. They're Pokemon that actually look like this. I hope they've made them different enough that Nintendo's not going to sue, because a lot of these things I thought, wait, isn't that a real Pokemon? And also, unlike co-op for 4 players, so you, me, and Scott, we can all just have our pals and make sure we don't eat them.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned about how PvP is this going to. Yeah, can people steal
you've
your
seen
Pokemon
no, you've seen
pals?
you've seen PvP in World of Warcraft. That's basically what this is going to be. You can throw it out a flag, and you can have your monsters fight. I mean, here's the thing: it's like doing a Pokemon battle. You know, what I want to know is how much control do you have over your pal? If it's going to be like Pokemon in which you just order them and give them instructions and they do it, or if you actually get into your pal and you actually fight as your pal, I think it's going to be giving them orders. It's going to be interesting. You know, this is what people want. They want a Pokemon MMO. This is about as close to a Pokemon MMO as you're going to get. And I cannot stress how many people are shocked and happy that it's going to be on Game Pass, because that's try before you buy. You know? It's going to have a lot more people trying it out, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people who want to try this out.
Oh, my God. If only out of, morbid curiosity for a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, Ooblets wasn't it on, I think it was on Game Pass? I'm not sure. Ooblets was the closest thing to a Pokemon game that I saw, except that one was the complete opposite of this, in which your Pokemon and Ooblets didn't fight. They danced. They had a dance-off.
Ooblets was, super wholesome in comparison.
Yeah. And Ooblets, whoever's the better dancer won.
And everybody is always happy to see you, whatever you're doing in that game.
And then in this game, one of the images is this giant Raichu kind of creature with a chain gun, a gigantic chain gun. And it's like, your Pokemon have guns now too, if you want.
Yeah, sure.
I can just keep imagining Pikachu with a .45 Magnum now. Pikachu!
What an incredible series of words in this particular story.
Yeah, yep, I agree.
I think someone actually tried to figure out how tasty each Pokemon would be. In an old story, an old YouTube thing, they had what would each Pokemon taste like?
I have no idea, but apparently Miltank milk is actually pretty good.
I'm just picturing you and your Pokemon just poaching and going into wildlife sanctuaries, and you both have guns. And if there's any zookeeper there, you say, well, it sucks to be you. You should have stayed at home today. Bang! Yeah, I wonder what the interaction with people is going to be, aside from, well, you're not going to eat other people if the weather gets bad, or will you? Yeah, sorry, Steve. I'm too hungry. Let me just brain you and eat your legs. It'll be like that chapter from The Walking Dead Telltale game. Remember, everybody was eating leg in that game, and you had to you try to prevent Clem from eating a leg. It's an old game. I can't remember. When was it? 2009? 2008? The Walking Dead Telltale game. It was like 2008. That's what I'm.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Palworld. I'm definitely gonna see what this is like next week. I'm gonna give a full report. And like I said, it's gonna be an early access, so it's gonna be interesting to see how the game builds up. And they're gonna have player feedback and stuff like that. So we're gonna hear about what demented ideas people who play this game are gonna have.
Yeah, no kidding.
Can you ride your Pokemon?
People will check the boundaries and see how far you can go.
Can we give our Pokemon realistic blood?
Oh boy.
So here's a question. I wonder, will pals kill each other? Because in Pokemon they don't kill; they make them faint.
Seems an awful lot like. I mean, if you're gonna use guns, why not go?
Yeah, it's like I fainted because you shot me in the head. This is gonna be interesting. And it's not like, here's the thing, there's some sick things about Pokemon in which you have elementary school kids wandering off into the wilderness on their own and their parents not really caring. Yeah, bye. Okay. I'm gonna meet with your neighbor once a night now that you're gone from my life, you miserable 10-year-old kid. Oh wait, they're being attacked by gangs. I mean, Team Rocket or Team Nuclear or whatever.
That'd help you if you have a rare pal. The poachers will kill it and take it from you.
Hey, that might be one of the things, and in which you're running around. You have your own version of Mewtwo, and it's like you have to fend off people, and if you flag on PvP, you have to fend off your Mewtwo from other players. Yeah, I mean, it would be entirely within the Pokemon world that you could steal someone else's Pokemon.
Yeah.
In PvP.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if they can do that kind of thing.
Oh, I wonder if they can have gym leaders in Palworld.
Steal a Pokemon and then eat them in front of them.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining this
okay,
thing.
Now you're Eric Cartman.
Oh yeah, Eric. Yeah, definitely. There's gonna be some Eric Cartmans on there.
I wonder what the gym leaders are going to be like. It's like, if you don't beat me, I'm going to kill and eat your Pokemon. You go to Raccoon, you go to Lavender City. It's like, you see this vat of butter? If you lose, that's where your Pokemon is going.
There'll be markets where some things are more rare than others.
Oh dear God! You go to markets, you see dead Pokemon being butchered and hanging in the windows.
Pikachu tail is an aphrodisiac in these parts.
Oh my God!
And also, if you need a new fuse, you can use a Pikachu tail as well. So. Oh yeah, we use our Squirtle to water the lawn. Oh, he's dead, but he's still good for that.
Oh my God! You use Charmander to light some fires.
I was about to say you have Charmander chained in the back. It's like he's heating your water here. It's like the Flintstones, and he just says, "It's a living."
Oh my God!
Have you seen the trailer, Scott?
For this game, I don't think so.
Go ahead and see it.
Maybe I did.
Here's the thing. Yeah. Go see it, and like I said, the one thing you'll be taken aback by is the animation and the graphics of these characters. If you love Pokemon, as I said, you're going to be annoyed because you can see what Pokemon could be if Game Freak and the Pokemon Company gave a shit about the video game, because they only give a shit about the merchandising, those plushies.
I think it's always been the merchandise.
Here's the thing. Have you noticed all the Pokemon are sort of round now? You know why? They're mostly round. There's no sharp-edged Pokemon anymore, right? Because plushies are round. And you can't make a plushie that's sharp. So you got to have round characters. The Pokemon are getting... I mean, there's a Pokemon that's a Pokeball. I mean, how lazy can you get?
You can make one that's car keys.
There's one that's a magnet, and just different types of magnets. And I never understood Pokemon ghosts. What are they ghosts of? How can you have sex with a ghost and have a ghost that give birth to a ghost?
It doesn't necessarily itself have to be a ghost. It just has ghost type attacks.
Yeah. Again, there's a darker side, obviously, to this game.
Yeah.
It's a darker side, though. You don't have to do the darker side. You can have it be like Stardew Valley, with you and your Pokemon walking around and making friends and going on sea and exploration and dungeon crawling and, and finally, if you're stuck out at sea, you have to eat your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
I would pay money to see Ash Ketchum eat Pikachu. Or even better, have Misty eat Psyduck. Psyduck will finally get a reaction. Talk about a headache, Psyduck. Guess what? This is the ultimate headache coming for you.
Imagine that Pokemon that sleeps all the time. I don't remember.
Snorlax.
Snorlax. Yeah, there you go.
Snorlax, don't sleep too long.
First.
Oh yeah, well it's big and it has a lot of fat. It's probably really marbled.
You could feed a whole village with a Snorlax for a year.
Absolutely.
That looks like marbled steak. A nice mix of fat and meat. So that's where we are, folks. That's where we are. That's why Palworld will be the game of the year by this time next year.
God.
No, seriously, I like the fact that it's taking things to a next level, and it's not that it has a darker side. It's more like it's doing something with the formula and making it move forward. That's why I liked the old Enix Pokemon clone that was in the Dragon Warriors universe, because it did a lot of things that were new. Breeding in that game was a difficult project because you had to figure out who might breed with whom, and then you have the egg, and then you have to, take care of the egg, and you have to leave it in a stable and stuff like that. There's all this stuff going on aside from, the normal Pokemon things. And the battling was also more interesting. That's the other thing. If you're going to do the same sort of Pokemon battles in which you command your Pokemon, I'd love to see how they do it, how they improve on that system. Because what is Pokemon? It's like, okay, try and find a ground Pokemon that, because they're able to resist, like, what was it, fire? No. What do ground Pokemons take on? I know they take on electricity. They can make that, but what else? Water? No. It wasn't water. It's probably fire. I don't know. I haven't played Pokemon in a long time. But in that game, it's all, rock, paper, scissors, In this, it might tweak that a bit so that the combat isn't as boring as it is in Pokemon.
I don't know about the whole you were talking about earlier about Nintendo suing or whatever, and I remember how the very first Ni no Kuni had Pokemon mechanics.
Really? Oh, no, it's not mechanics. I'm talking about, no, it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with looks.
Yeah.
I mean, Lauren Faust had to give her blessing, Actually, them fighting herds had to change a lot so that Mattel wouldn't sue them for doing My Little Pony. But on the other hand, they also had the bright idea to talk to Lauren Faust and get her input on it. Anyways, yeah, next week I'm definitely going to check this out.
Well, I'm excited to see what you think.
Okay. Here's the thing. Which do you want me to watch more? You want to watch me in City Skylines 2, or do you want to watch me in Palworld? So I think I already know the answer to that.
I still think that you should post your what you're doing with your new cities.
No, I was thinking, I could do what we did like a couple of years ago and just have me play the game and just we both comment on it as I do it.
Maybe so.
Yeah. I mean, it was really fun doing it with Viscera Cleanup Detail and also Bus Simulator. Oh, God, Bus Simulator, that's gone so downhill so fast. It's depressing.
I like, there's another one that's come out since that I think is a little bit better.
Which one are you talking about?
I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. I think it's just called The Bus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a couple of those games. Actually, the one that I want to play is Euro Truck Simulator, but I think it's only on Steam.
Yes, it is called The Bus. I played a little bit of this a while ago, and it was just super relaxing.
Did you ever play that bus game by Penn and Teller, Tour Bus or something like that? You had to.
No, I didn't. I remember it though.
It's 24 hours. You have to drive the bus for 24 hours, and you can't just leave the computer because the thing will start skidding off to the side. So you have to stay in front of your screen for 24 hours watching nothing but boring desert. It's the sort of game that Penn and Teller would make.
Simulate driving a tour bus across the country or something.
Across the desert.
Mm-hmm.
24 hours of just plain doing nothing, and you can't leave the controls alone because you'll crash. That's the sort of game that Penn and Teller would make, wouldn't it be? Anyways, look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net, along with industry news and our gaming history articles. You enjoy FedEx, you can comments at our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, hit it up facebook.com/gamingpodcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes, leave us iTunes comments. You can find me on Twitter at Jonah Falcon.
You can find me at Johnny Judds.
You can find me at Chardamore.
And we may delay this podcast next week just long enough so that I can give my impressions of Palworld. Because that's a Friday. So actually, maybe not. It'll have to be just before. So I'll just give more impressions of City Skylines 2.
Well, definitely want to talk about that director development thing after January 18th.
Yeah, well, it's the developer direct is happening on the 19th and the 18th, so it's like, are we going to be able to do it? I guess we could if we record on Friday. Sure. Yeah, we can delay it until Friday next week. Anyways, we will see you next week at some point.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun. Be cool. Play games, y'all.
And try not to eat your Pokemon, please.